Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Guardian Project Podcast, episode 88. I'm Andy, and tonight we are getting a blessing of frost. We're supposed to have 10 inches here in the Metro Detroit area.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it personally.
But I am working from home, and I bought a snowblower today.
Those are two great things.
So, yeah, but it's the first time I'm going to have to drive to a doctor's appointment at 8:30 tomorrow. That was planned months ago.
Oof.
So
what, you didn't plan for the 10 inches of snow that we're getting tomorrow? The weatherman didn't forecast it out enough?
No.
Wow. Should have paid some mana at the beginning of your turn at your upkeep to
Snow
forecast it out.
To use it all up.
That's right.
Oops.
And I'm your other host, Mike Coyle. And as a Commander player, I've never really felt the FOMO, the fear of missing out. But what I do feel is the FOMUT, or the fear of missing upkeep triggers.
We have all been there.
Been there.
Please listen carefully.
Yep. And this is the podcast where we talk about all things Magic the Gathering.
But mostly Commander.
So we had a lot of stuff happen in the past week, announcement-wise. We'll start with the most recent Secret Lair announcement, right? So we had the Secret Lair's Smitten Superdrop. So there are 5 different drops here. Very, very, very rad. Which includes Glenalendra Archmage, Mistbind Click, Spellstutter Sprite, and Vendilion Click. The unfathomable crushing brutality of basic lands. A very Kaldheim metal-inspired basic land set, which are really cool.
Yeah, they are. They're really cool.
Yeah, I the one thing I wish is that you got like 3 of the lands each, so you could try to get to like enough to build a monocolor commander deck.
My first thought was I wish these were snow-covered lands, honestly.
Yeah, they are not snow-covered.
No.
Well, we got the snow in the set, so we're going to get the non-snow in this set, right? Valentine's Day 2021, which is actually the one that I think I'm going to pick up here. So this one includes Boros Charm, Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, Goblin Rabble Master, Monastery Swift Spear, Heliod Suncrowned, and a Goblin token that's barfing hearts or flowers.
Yeah, I think they're roses.
I think they're roses. Barfing roses. So I'm going to put this Boros Charm in my Ravnica cube, 100%.
Okay.
And then I have a Heliod Suncrowned combo commander deck. And it's got that's the coolest little heart spear and like heart belt. He's like wearing a robe, just kind of hanging.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable.
Honestly, looks really warm.
Yeah, with like the space in his sleeves too. Spacey sleeves.
I mean, yeah, the space. Yeah, it looks like there's stars and everything in there. So, and then honestly, Goblin Rabble Master is just good in Goblin decks, and Gisela Blade of Gold Knight is a great card and commander. So this one, all-star for me.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. And then we have two showcases, Kaldheim Part 1 and Kaldheim Part 2. So the first one comes with, and these are for the Kaldheim like showcase artwork, that metal look, a Frost Titan, a Primeval Titan, and then Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. And then the Part 2 comes with Inferno Titan, Grave Titan, and Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger.
Yeah, I think these are really, really, really cool. I like these the most out of any of the drops.
Do you?
I do. I would like both of them. I kind of wish they were all in one drop so that I only had to pay one time to get all 6 of them.
Yeah.
But other than that, they are super cool artwork. And, there's I think we're going to get into it in a second here, but there was that extra caveat note that came in there with the
Kaldheim, or
part
part 1. Yeah. Why don't you just jump into the announcement that came out today that they did relay early through this announcement.
That's right. So good on Wizards of the Coast for, announcing that, hey, we're going to be selling this new art of Uro, Titan's Wrath. But just so you know, we're planning to ban it in Pioneer, Modern, and Historic. So keep that in mind before you start setting your funds aside to purchase this Secret Lair.
And it was $5 less than the Kaldheim Part 2. So that was also, I assume, part of the consideration for the pricing. But they did let us know. And so if you're looking for an Uro, your price is going to go down soon. If you want this artwork, obviously you got to buy it through this or pick up a single later. But I assume that Uro is going to drop pretty fast.
Most likely, yeah. Because it's like the only formats that it's legal in now are Commander. And
Well, we'll
And
have
Legacy?
to see. Let's jump over to that banned and restricted announcement.
That's right. Okay. So a pretty huge banned and restricted announcement, quite honestly, shaking a lot of formats up. We'll start with Historic. So in Historic, Omnath Locus of Creation was previously suspended, is now banned, and Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath is now banned. So there's only 2 changes in Historic. In Pioneer, we have Blustered Spy is banned. Teferi Time Raveler is banned. Undercity Informer is banned. Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath is banned. And Wilderness Reclamation is banned.
That's 5.
That's 5 cards in Pioneer. That's crazy. I haven't heard anything in Pioneer for a while, though. So
Yep, same.
yeah. So, okay. Moving on to Modern. Wow. In Modern, we have Field of the Dead banned, Mystic Sanctuary banned, Simian Spirit Guide banned, Tybalt's Trickery banned, and Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath banned.
Another 5.
Holy moly. You know, we talked about it before, how the standard that I came into was a banning standard, but there's so many cards are banning this week.
Yeah.
Okay, Legacy. We're banning Arkham's Astrolabe, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and Oko Thief of Crowns. 3 bans in Legacy. Maybe the Oko one is long past due, but yeah.
Yeah.
But Andy, in Vintage, we got an unbanning.
Oh?
Luris is now unbanned in Vintage.
Unbanned.
So that was like the first banning in Vintage in like 20 some years or something. And now it got unbanned, so it's good now.
Yeah, it's, funny enough, that one they were basically saying that after the change happened to the actual mechanic companion, that the requirement to pay 3 to put it in your hand was enough of a cost that they were like, yeah, we're gonna unban this.
This is fine now.
Yeah, but it also came with the banned and restricted announcement, a Cascade rules change.
That's right.
So basically, there was an issue with cascading into the new Velki God of Lies and Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, where you could cascade into Velki and then just cast the Tybalt side instead. And now, basically, the new Cascade rule is just saying that the spell that you cast off of that triggered ability must also have a lesser CMC than the cost of the spell that had Cascade. So you can still cast either side of that spell, but it has to be lesser CMC than the one that caused it to cascade.
Yeah, so like Tybalt's Trickery isn't going to be able to get it there anymore.
Well, Tybalt's Trickery is not the Cascade spell. That's the counter and cast something else. No, this is just we're cascading like a Bloodbraid Elf into a Velki here. Gotcha. It's becoming an issue.
Yeah. So, well, I guess now that with that rule update, that takes that loophole, I guess, if you will.
That loophole is out of here. But speaking of Tybalt's Trickery, though, did you ever want to cast a spell for 0 and then Tybalt's Trickery into like an Ugin? I know I mentioned playing that in Standard. Well, you can do it with other things in Modern, and it was causing problems. And it says, while the overall win rate of the deck hasn't shown to be problematic, they believe it contributes to non-games that make Modern less fun to play. So it's just kind of, you have it or you don't, and when you do, it's not fun for anyone.
Right. Yeah, I heard that the one thing that people are grabbing most often is Emrakul, to take an extra turn because you get to cast it with Tybalt's Trickery and everything. So
And Simian Spirit Guide got the hit because you can exile to get that extra mana to use on that Tybalt's Trickery very quickly. So lots of discussion on that. Our former host Brian said, "I would have loved that 10 years ago."
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I don't know a ton of Modern, but I've been told extra free mana just by exiling a card. It's pretty cool.
It does seem kind of odd to me that they're like banning multiple different parts of strategies. Like also in Modern, we have the Uro ban with Field of the Dead and Mystic Sanctuary, because those two cards were played very often with Uro. It just kind of seems, to me at least, maybe a little overkill to ban every single card that was part of that kind of grouping. But we know that in the past, like when they were trying to balance out Hogak, and at first all they did was ban not Deathbridge Chant. What's the
Bridge from Below?
Bridge from Below. All they did was ban Bridge from Below, and they're like, oh wait, the deck is still good. So maybe they're trying to just like fast forward. I don't know which one of these cards is the problem, so let's just get rid of all of them. Maybe they'll reintroduce some of them later on. Who knows?
Right. Right. And then the other one that I just wanted to note, because like we said, we have not really followed Pioneer a ton. It's not on Arena and we don't play on MTGO, but Blostrade Spy and Undercity Informer, both interesting cards here. So apparently this is part of an Oops All Spells deck that uses these two cards to mill your entire library. And having no cards that count as lands while in the library is been difficult to interact with. So they said that it is becoming a larger part of the metagame. So they're choosing to ban Blostrade Spy and Undercity Informer. So I didn't even know the deck existed until I saw this, but apparently it was enough of an issue in Pioneer. Maybe it's just the folks that we follow and talk with don't play Pioneer a lot.
Yeah,
but apparently this is problematic for them.
Yeah, and I know we were guessing that the win condition was Thassa's Oracle for this when we were talking before the show. It is Thassa's Oracle.
It is Thassa's Oracle.
Yeah. So
that makes total sense.
Yep.
So banned and restricted. Now, aside from that, we both played quite a bit of Magic this past weekend, and we have things to talk about. Let's start with talking about our stream from this past week, where I played Finn the Fangbearer.
Yeah, holy crap.
I'd like you to start. Give me your opinions on Finn.
I think it was really cool the first 5 turns of the game, and then I lost. No, it seems like a very simple deck. Easy to build. I like the proliferate strategy that you had in there. I think that deck is pretty darn strong. Yeah,
so the deck itself that I had built, I decided to go hard on both silly 1/1s or 1/2s that cost 1 or 2 mana that just have Death Touch, and then proliferate. And I threw in all the proliferate cards that I basically could that were affordable, like CMC wise. And I found that I gave Coyle 2 counters, and then I gave we played with Plaid Clad from the Scrap Trawlers, Nick, and we played with Aaron Campbell from Magic Mike's, and I gave everybody 2 or 4 counters, and then I just didn't realize how quickly proliferate would just get everyone to 10. I did end up, spoiler alert, winning that game. It will be up on YouTube this coming weekend. But I don't think it was oppressive, but I do think that it was, maybe I just had the right cards. I'd like to play it a couple more times to see if it's going to play out that way. But I also did not think that playing with Evolution Sage, which has landfall triggers for proliferate, was going to combo so easily with the Nissa Who Shakes the World that I played. I got Nissa to 8, and then I minused 8, and I grabbed all my basics basically. And was like, okay, Nick was the last person that was still in. I was like, oh, I guess you get 10 counters or whatever it was.
Proliferate your poison counters 22 times.
It's crazy. And the fact that you get 2. So funny enough, the Spike Feeders posted a spike on the mic about Infect today. And they had mentioned, and I tweeted about it, you may have seen it, and it said, with an improving card pool, their opinion around Infect may change, but they specifically brought up Finn, and it was like, maybe cards like this could change Infect. Having that alternate loss is not necessarily a problem. When I think they had mentioned there were like 70 some cards that had Infect. I don't remember the exact number, but when your commander gives Infect to everything that has quote unquote has Death Touch, and it's 2, not just for their damage. I had a 1/1 that was giving, I think I gave you 4 poison counters from like a 1/1. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it just does it.
It does it really well.
So I'm excited to play this some more. I do want to play with a couple of folks in our local play group online just to see what their opinions are. I'm on the fence about whether or not this deck is fun to play against.
I think it's fine. I think you just need to find exactly, like, it might be a higher power level than you think it is. Maybe.
Right.
Which is why we play games. And figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, when we were doing the pregame discussion, I said, I'm playing with pseudo Infect, but I said it's a bunch of 1/1s. I don't know if I'm going to win. And it got there. Yeah. So
I was playing Azorius Control, and I'm like, well, I can probably hold it back a little bit, and then, it'll be a longer. Nope. It didn't work. I tapped your creatures down. I tapped a total of 4 creatures down total. So you had 4 less swings, and we were still losing on like turn. It was probably like 6 or 7.
Yeah, it wasn't insanely fast, but it was It was fast.
Yeah.
I mean, the game ended.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also played a lot of CEDH this weekend. So I was on the stream with Ramp Gang, and then I was also on with Moderately Anonymous MTG. I won quite a few games, which was very exciting. I played Malcolm and Vile Smasher, and I won 3 different ways with Moderately Anonymous. So we played 4 games, and I ended up getting 3 of them. So I won with the Glenhorn Buccaneer combo, swinging with Malcolm out. And then the second one, I played Thassa's Oracle with Demonic Consultation, and everybody had used up all of their answers. And they were like, okay, yep, that's a thing. And then the last game, I had a Glenhorn Buccaneer. I had Windfall with Notion Thief. We were all playing CEDH, so it was like we knew what was happening.
Sure.
And everybody had no hands, and I was looking at mine, and I could not figure out what the win con was because my opponents were 2 of them were knocked out, and I couldn't swing to win anymore.
Right.
Realistically.
With the Glinthorn Buccaneer?
Yeah, with that combo at least. It would be a few turns. And so I ended up finding that I had a Phantasmal Image I could play as a copy of the Buccaneer, and then I had played a Lion's Eye Diamond and sacked or discarded my whole hand, which dealt 1 damage for each card discarded 2 times. So,
Got there.
It's a lot of really big brain plays.
For sure.
My gosh, it's so stressful, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I actually did get to play one more game with my Rogue Rock Jessica deck too.
Oh.
I did finally get there with it too. The Cloudstone Curio with a Kobold of Kirkkeep and Rogue Rock bouncing back and forth over and over and over, and then Grape Shot.
Nice.
Boring mono red stuff.
But okay, so now switching to another mono color, you are building mono black elves.
Yeah, so this is the mono black partners deck that I've been talking about for a long time to build. And then every time I go to try to build it, it's like so Commander Legends came out. That's when I had the idea to do mono black partners. And then they started announcing some Kaldheim stuff, and there was some black elves in Kaldheim, and I'm like, all right, I'll wait to finish the deck. Now that Kaldheim is released, I'm looking to finish that out, and hopefully I'll have it built for this Thursday and try to play it then.
Yeah.
So, should be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. This Thursday, we're actually going to be playing with some patrons, Andy and Parker. And speaking of playing with patrons, if you want to become a patron and support our show, you can head to patreon.com/theguardianprojectpod and donate for any dollar amount.
Yeah, and if you're looking for another way to support the podcast, you can definitely leave a comment or a like, whatever you're listening to on now. If you're listening / watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that bell icon so you can see whenever we post new content on YouTube, whether that is our weekly podcast or our weekly VODs from our Commander streams, which you can also find on our YouTube channel. So yeah, any comments or anything that you can leave will help us make the podcast better for you. So we'd really appreciate the feedback.
Yeah. So Coyle, what is our main topic this week?
Today, kind of, talked about it a little bit in my intro, but we're going to talk about Fomo, or the fear of missing out, and talk about cards that have spiked in the past because of certain interactions or cards that got printed, and maybe some lessons learned about maybe don't buy into it right away. Maybe it'll be cheaper later kind of deal. So yeah, that's going to be our main topic today. Perfect.
Well, let's, I don't want you to miss it. So don't fear. We're going to move into it right now.
Oh.
So we are talking about FOMO, specifically cards that have spiked in price because a commander came out or there's a new specific interaction that's really, really fun to play with or really unique to try out that hasn't particularly been powerful in the past. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Per se, Child Stars. Where are they now?
Who knows?
Who knows? Drew Barrymore has her own show now.
Yeah, that's right.
Has she had one before? One of my favorite actors, I'll be honest. She's done everything.
Yeah. I know about all of her movies and everything. I don't know if she's ever had her own show.
Like, I know the talk show. I don't know if she had one before Drew, but anyway. Yeah. So this is kind of a where are they now of cards that spiked in price. So we're going to chat about the card, what the high was, maybe the reasons why, and whether or not it's still at that price, and if it's useful in any other deck today, or if it's seeing much play.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the first one on our list is Plague of Vermin. So Plague of Vermin is a sorcery for 6 and a black that says, starting with you, each player may pay any amount of life. Repeat this process until no one pays life. Each player puts a 1/1 black rat creature token into play for each 1 life he or she paid this way. So This card was like sitting at $1 for most of its existence. And then there is a commander that got released in Throne of Eldraine called Ayara, First of Locthwain, that says whenever a black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each one of your opponents loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This does combo off with Plague of Vermins. However, if you look at the reason we added this, FOMO, it did end up spiking, and it spiked in February of 2020, which was actually after pretty much a long time after Throne of Eldraine got released. And I thought for sure it was Ayara that made this card spike. But in fact, this card spiked because of the whole making rat tokens part in the Year of the Rat secret lair that got released.
Now, I have died to this in an Ayara deck. So I would have put money on the fact that it spiked because of Ayara. Mm-hmm. I did not think about Year of the Rat.
No, I didn't either, because I bought this for Ayara, quite honestly. But yeah, in Year of the Rat, you pay 20 life and get 20 rats if that's what you want to do. You can do that. And it spiked to about $8 a card, again previously sitting at $1. Ended up kind of limiting off. You can get one now for about $5. And a lot of the cards that we're going to talk about today really went down a lot lower than that, than just over 50% of its spike value. But I think the volume kind of got eaten up by the Ayara players from the Plague of Vermin, and that's why it's still sitting at that slightly higher price at $5.
Wow. I did not. So, and the other thing is Plague of Vermin isn't really played in anything else. It's kind of an expensive card for what it does. Mm-hmm. And you don't particularly want to pay all that life because you're not going to get it back.
Right.
Ayara just gives it back.
Yeah, paying 7 mana to win the game is okay. Paying 7 mana to have half your life and set up a very easily wiped board, probably not the best thing.
Yeah, no, probably not. Do you remember when Ixadore Reality Sculptor spiked? So this card it came out and spiked after Kadena Slinking Sorcerer was announced. So Kadena was from the Commander 19 precons that cares about face down creatures. Whenever a face down creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card, and the first face down creature spell you cast each turn costs 3 less. So Ixadore Reality Sculptor, pretty old card from Onslaught, had a single printing for so long, was like 45 cents for years. So Ixadore is a 3/4 wizard for 3 blue that says face down creatures get +1/+1, and then pay 3, 2 and a blue to turn target face down creature face up. Well, it turns out that's pretty cool when you're just playing a bunch of morphs potentially for free and drawing cards.
That's right.
So, speaking of FOMO, this might have come out, and then in September, August, September, it shot up to, $26.
Wow. That's a lot of money for an Ixadore.
And now you can get them for like $3 or $4.
Right.
They fell way back down. So from August 2019 to now, they're up a couple bucks. It was reprinted in the list on Mystery Booster. In Mystery Booster. So it's not necessarily like a thoughtful reprint.
No.
There are very few of them. But yeah, it's sub $3 on TCG Player for a non-foil version. It's only had 2 printings in total, but it looks like for the most part this was just because of Kadena, and that popularity wore off. Actually, I took apart my Kadena deck, and when I was telling people or I was trying to figure out what I was going to take apart last year, and I had put up a poll or just made some comments, folks were like, take apart Kadena.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think that's kind of the case. Folks just may no longer be
right
on Kadena.
And now Ixadore really isn't played anywhere else. Even like the other most popular morph commander I can think of is I can't remember his name right now.
Ixadron?
I was gonna say the teamer.
The 3-color one.
The elemental.
Animar.
Yeah. You wouldn't play it in that deck. It doesn't really make sense, because really you're only playing morphs and Animar to make it so that you can play Eldrazi for free, or whatever other colorless creatures or big creatures you have to make them cost a lot less. So
yeah. So Ixadore, don't get caught with that FOMO, because that was a rough one.
Don't catch the FOMO. How about this one? This one is actually a really, really recent one. And this is Reese the Exiled.
This is very recent.
Yeah. So
we have a couple of recent ones.
Reese the Exiled in January of this year, in 2021, actually hit a high of $23.77.
It only had a single printing up until then, correct?
Yes, single printing in Morningtide. But now it has another printing, a precon, commander precon for call time. So this original printing of Morningtide went down to, you can get it for $9 today, and you can get the reprint for $4 right now.
Wow.
So yeah, everyone saw that there was going to be green-black elf support in call time. So Reese the Exiled is a very good choice as a commander for a green-black elf deck. It's a green elf for 3 mana, 3/2 that has black in its activation cost, giving it a black-green color identity. It says whenever Reese the Exiled attacks, you gain 1 life for each elf you control. You can pay a black to sacrifice an elf to regenerate Reese the Exiled. So so that's one of the most, if not the most recent kind of FOMO thing that we saw. Definitely, if they're going to be printing like a product that definitely or potentially will have reprint in it, maybe wait until you see everything in the product before you start buying cards, or you're going to have the fear of missing out and end up spending $20 on a card that costs $4 the next day.
Yeah. While we're still on current cards and current spikes, let's chat about one that I'm glad I own one of, which is Whim Evol Wrath. So Whim Evol Wrath is an instant with buyback that says change the text of target permanent by replacing all instances of one color word of basic land type with another until end of turn. So this was really good in Mome or Vig, where you would kind of make it so that you could tutor for creatures of like you could tutor for a green creature and then cast a green creature. It would just make it so you could play it and also tutor at the same time, because it was blue and green. And it wasn't so great until Orvar, the new mono blue commander all form, Orvar the all form came out. So this card was about 60 to 70 cents, and then just a couple of days ago it was over 100.
Oh,
it was like $139.
Wow.
And now you can find it on TCG Player for what appears to be $63.
Wow. How can that's
it is a rare, looking at it now.
Okay.
It is a rare from Tempest, single printing, not reserve list. I did take a look. $63.
Now, I mean, to be fair, it is a really good card in Halvar, but
in Orvar. Helvar is the white one.
Yeah,
that
not
is
Helvar.
Another commander.
You can't play it in Helvar.
Yeah,
but
so
in Orvar.
So Orvar, the all form, specifically says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets one or more permanents you control, that's create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. And then when a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. So if you cast that with buyback, you can change the color of one word with a basic land type, and then make a copy of one of those permanents.
Yeah, just any permanent that you have is what you can make a copy of. You don't actually even have to target the thing that you want to make a copy of the permanent of.
Yeah, one of those permanents. Yeah. So you can make a copy of one of those permanents.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a near mint copy on TCG Player. I mean, it's all the way up to $140 right now.
Wow.
I mean, lightly played. The cheapest that I see is a moderately played version for $63. Do I have foil checked? Nope, because there wasn't foil in Tempest.
Right.
So yeah, that card, I don't know if it's going to stick. Unless this is the most popular blue commander of all time. And this, I don't know. I am so curious to see where this is going to be. So the where are they now? Okay. So like an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, update 1987. I would like to do an update on this sometime, maybe next year.
Yeah.
Just see what this falls at.
Yeah.
It is a rare. So I guess it's not like a common. Interesting.
I think I could probably pick from a list like 5 other cards from Tempest I think I would rather have than that one that may be aren't that priced
It's
yet.
so specific
Yeah.
to the commanders that care about it.
For sure.
But I'm glad I got it at 70 cents.
Yeah, blink that Peregrine Drake infinite number of times with that spell.
Yeah.
Woo-woo.
Peregrine Drake, and I also think there's another one that I think it combos with too. There's like two.
Is it Colossal Whale? Is that the one that untaps?
No, I don't
too?
remember. I have not looked into it because I feel like that playing Orvar would be dangerous for me because I would love that deck. I think I would love that deck, but I do think that I would have a problem building that deck at a friendly power level.
Just build it CEDH, it'll be fine.
It's just, I'm going to play mono blue. I think at some point, if you can, I read something about turning something into a creature and you can start making copies of lands with certain spells with Orvar as well.
You can just make copies of islands just with his spell.
You can just make copies of, I haven't looked too much. So
you just have island tokens.
So you're just playing mono blue buyback ramp.
Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
That's the whole deck.
So what are you playing? I'm playing Orvar ramp.
Yeah.
Orvar landfall.
Mono blue ramp.
Ooh, there's landfall in blue.
Yeah.
I'm going to play mono blue landfall. Not much,
but it exists.
We'll see. So hopefully you got a copy of that. And if not, I
would
wait. Please don't spend $63
yeah.
on the Whim of Volrath.
Yeah. Just play a different buyback spell.
Let's do a card that's not so crazy expensive.
Okay. Let's do Walking Ballista, which, is a card that has really held its price for a very long time. Kind of, it's staying above $10, which is nice. If you owned them and you bought them for $10 when this card was really good in standard, they're still worth $10 today, which is kind of nice. But so Walking Ballista is a card from Aether Revolt. It has XX casting cost and is a 0/0. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters. You can pay 4 to put a +1/+1 counter on Walking Ballista, and you can remove a +1/+1 counter from Walking Ballista to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So this was kind of big in the Winding Constrictor meta that was in Standard, and then also it was a +1/+1 counter meta in Pioneer. Big. Walking Ballista was an integral part of that. It's really good for removal. It's a good win condition. And it actually spiked to about $30 in January of 2020.
Okay.
And then it got banned in Pioneer around August timeframe of 2020, toward like the middle end of August, and went back down. You can get one now for about $12. But this card is, I think, it's had 2 printings, Aether Revolt and Double Master. So it finally got another printing, which didn't really affect its price, which is nice. And it's still a really good card in our format in Commander. I mean, if you have a way of producing an infinite amount of colorless mana, this is your win condition. It also saw that its original price spike of $30 was because of the printing of the new Heliod.
Yeah, which is the reason I'm buying that Secret Lair drop specifically. And what's funny is Walking Ballista was also in they were in that Secret Lair drop series for those I think there were like 3 artifacts. Right. Obviously not necessarily a thoughtful reprinting there, but. Yeah, this card, I think Pioneer is what hit it, but it definitely saw a spike with that Heliod. Yeah, and it's a real combo.
It's a 2-card combo with one of those cards being your commander. It's exactly what you want for a win condition. It's very consistent.
Yeah. Another card that we saw a spike from, but this was back in November, is a Final Fortune. So this card sat around $1 for years. I mean, I'm just looking right now. I see 2013, and then it saw a slight uptick in June, and then right after Commander Legends, I assume after Obeka was previewed, this card shot up, and it really has not gone down. It was at $30 at one point. Right now, you can get one for around 20. It was printed in 7th edition. It was in 6th edition. It was in Mirage, and it was also a printing for the World Championship deck. So it's got 3 actual printings, and Obeka Brute Chronologist basically allows you to kind of get around the negative side effect, right? So Final Fortune says, take another turn. At the end of that turn, you lose the game. And Obeka says, no, I can just end the turn and exile everything that's on the stack or whatever's going to happen until end of turn effects stop. So this card spiked. Obeka, I believe, is still the most popular Commander Legends commander
I think that's still true. Yeah.
So we'll see. Right now it's at 762 decks listed on EDH Rec. So I'm not sure, but Final Fortune being printed 3 times, being $20, it's possible that lasts for a while.
I was interested to see if any of the other red. I guess the only other color I could see is I know there's a red white extra turn one, but all the red extra turn cards, I was interested to see if those were also going to spike. But the fact that Final Fortune is an instant that can go under an Isochron Scepter is what sets it apart. So the other ones didn't really follow the same path.
They did not. So Final Fortune, it's a fun card to say I'm going to go out on my own terms, or I'm going to try it, because you can. You're like, oh, if I can just take out one person, and if I get one extra turn, I can definitely take out the other 2. Go for it. I mean, it's been played before. I mean, I've seen someone play a Final Fortune before.
Oh yeah.
But I've also seen them go, yeah, I don't have anything. I guess I'm done, and then they're done. With Obeka, you can keep going.
That's right.
With that Isochron Scepter specifically.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Our next card we have on here is one that also spiked around the Commander Legends time, and that's Marlin of the Mornsong. So Marlin of the Mornsong is a 3 converted mana cost black elf wizard, not in my mono black elves deck, by the way. Mostly because it costs too much money. Okay. So it's a 3 mana 2/3 elf wizard that says players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life and searches his or her library for a card, puts it in his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. So this card for the longest time was like $6, $7. It's a rare from Morning Tide. It's never seen a reprint, not even an insignificant reprint. So never seen a reprint whatsoever. And when they released Opposition Agent in Commander Legends that says players can't search their libraries, and instead you search their libraries and you exile the cards and then you can play them, people immediately jumped on Marlin. It's spiking to $45 at one point.
Wow.
To be honest, it has not come down much from
now,
that.
Where are they now?
Where are they now? $32.31.
Ooh, that makes sense for a single printing of a rare from Morning Tide. I mean, Sig River Cutthroat, isn't on the list, but Sig, it was going up just because people were buying a lot of old cards.
That's
and
right.
we were seeing some rogue stuff coming up this past year. So like, oh, well, let's go with some Sig.
That's
and then
right.
we did get a rogue deck.
Yeah. But we got Sig reprinted in that rogue deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're hoping that maybe Marlin will see a reprint. I know, Andy, you suggested maybe in a master set or something, which I think makes the most sense for a Marlin reprint. I don't want to see, like, going back to Morning Tide and this gets reprinted. I don't want to see this in standard or anything like that. So hopefully in a master set, you'll see it reprinted, and then the price will plummet.
You don't want a tutor every turn come up in standard? A what?
I mean, maybe. It might be okay. You have to tutor for lands if you're mono red deck because you got greedy.
That's true. So that one is still kind of high as well. Now I have one that's the where are they now is kind of where they started.
Okay.
So this is Crimson Wisps. So Crimson Wisps is an instant for 1 red that says target creature becomes red and gains haste until end of turn. Draw a card. This one spiked because of probably the most popular Boros commander, Feather the Redeemed. Feather allows you to exile a spell that targets a permanent you control and then put it back into your hand at the end of your turn. And Crimson Wisps at its highest was at $6. For the longest time before that, it was about 40 to 50 cents, and it's back down to being 60 cents today. This is not crazy, but $6 for just an instant that gives one of your creatures haste and draw a card. Now in Feather, yes, this card is really not played in anything else.
No, I can't imagine it would be, except for maybe like Zerda Hedron Grinder.
Oh, absolutely. That one's very good.
But I mean, I think every single card in Hedron Grinder is a card played in Feather, pretty much.
Oh, the red ones. Yeah, you can't. What's funny is kind of alongside Crimson Wisp, and it's not a card that I have on the list, but a fun shout out here to Sunforger as well. So Sunforger hasn't just been printed once. I mean, it's been printed more than once, but that shot up from being about 80 cents to after before Feather and after Feather. This one shot up to around $9 during that spike as well. And Sunforger is way back down as well.
Because it even got a printing in Double Masters, I think, as well. Sunforger.
Is that the most recent?
It might have even seen a printing in the Precon, the Wylith Precon.
So it's in Ravnica, Commander 2016. Okay. It says Commander Legends, Double Masters, and Modern Masters 2015. So Sunforger, you know why? It's in the Precon. That's why it says Commander Legends. I think it's in the Wylith Precon. So this has been printed 5 times. If it's printed in a commander deck, that's a thoughtful print. I mean, in my opinion. But yeah, so these ones, there were a couple of those feather cards that, if they were foil, that multiplier was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So, where is it now? It's back where it was to start, right back to where, right back. So, and that one was pretty quick too, because it shot up and then so it looks like the highest was around May. And then it was back down in, what is this? October back to $2. So it was pretty quick for that rise, the rise and fall of Crimson Wisps.
We'll make a movie out of it. We'll win a Sundance film. Okay, the next card I would talk about is a common, actually, and a fairly recently printed common, and that's Persistent Petitioners.
Ooh.
So Persistent Petitioners is a 2-mana human artificer for 1/3. It says you can pay 1 generic, tap it, target player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard, or you can tap 4 untapped advisors you control, and target player puts the top 12 cards of their library into their graveyard. Also, your deck can have any number of cards named Persistent Petitioners as you want.
There's only that little,
just that little caveat.
The little caveat of, however many you want, you can have them.
Now, because when you look at the price difference between, where it spiked, which was $2.94 versus where it is now, which is $1.22, you look at it and go, what? $1.72 difference? That's not that big of a deal. Well, I went ahead and did some math ahead of time, and if you're playing at least 25 of these Persistent Petitioners, the price difference more looks like $73.50 versus $30.50.
That's a lot.
Yeah, $43, and that's only if you're playing 25 of them. So this definitely saw a spike when Jumpstart came out, and we saw Bruvac, which is another advisor they cared about mill.
The Grandiloquent.
Yes.
From the Azorius Guild.
So I think I need to say that this Persistent Petitioners has only been printed once at Common in Ravnica Allegiance, which also was the set that Guardian Project was printed in. So
coincidence?
I think not.
I think so.
And this one I actually did want to mention. We talked a little bit about foil prices too. The foils went to almost $13 for a single copy of Persistent Petitioners when it spiked. It's still like $5 for a foil copy.
It just feels like Shadowborn Apostle.
For sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
So, and Shadowborn Apostle went way up, and then it went really up after the Command Zone did their show with was it Athreos? It was Athreos,
yeah.
And then it came way back down.
That's right.
It came way back down, but Persistent Petitioners and Bruvac. To be fair, we finally had that on our show, on our stream. So Plaidclad from the Scrap Trawlers played Bruvac, and that was a lot of fun to see. Milled out to one person. You just died.
Yeah, I just died. to other effects.
I remember I got down to having 1 card in library, which I had to draw on my turn. I was like, this is it. So that was crazy seeing that. But Persistent Petitioners, yeah. So doesn't seem like that high was crazy, but that difference in price that you would save by not buying immediately.
Yeah, because it's multiplicative.
Yeah, that one's crazy. This one, pretty large as well. For the rise and fall. So this is Namada Grove Guardian. So Namada is a Treefolk Legend, a 4/5 for 4 green. That says pay 2 and a green, put a 1/1 Sapperling creature token into play, and then sacrifice a Sapperling. All Sapperlings get +1/+1 until end of turn. So there's a really fun card named Slimefoot the Stowaway, and that came out in Dominaria, and it caused a lot of cards that cared about Saprolings to spike. So specifically, Slimefoot the Stowaway says that whenever a Saproling that you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then it has pay for create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token. So the spike went from having Namada being about $1.70. It's a single printing from Plane Shift. It is a rare. It costs 6 with an expensive activation. I mean, so it's not like it shot up to having the average price being around $19.21, and is now back to costing like $3.
Yeah.
So if the average price was around $20, it means that some of them sold for significantly more than 20 to shoot that price up to 20 as your median. It
sure does mean that. And I own one of these, and I kind of wish I would have sold it for $20.
Did you have it before that when you like bought a collection or something?
I had it in a collection. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I picked up, I think, a Namada when it started spiking because I did build Slimefoot. It was one of the decks that I played for a long time and just took that apart last year as well. And I didn't get rid of the Namada, but I remember, I think I got the Namada at 7 because I didn't know it existed. And I was just kind of like dumping all the Saproling Cares cards into my cart. And, then that shot way up.
Yeah, it did.
So Namada, where are they now? They're back at a reasonable price.
That's right. Pick up your Namadas now.
Pick it up now. But this one did take from 2019. It took until about April of 2020 to come back all the way down to that $3 range. So this one was a slow fall. So I
think like when Slimefoot's killing everyone slowly.
It can be fast.
It can.
I can make it fast. But this one was slower. Stayed up for a very long time.
Yeah. All right. The next one we have is Wanderwine Prophets. This card was printed in Lorwyn, and it was the only printing for this card at all. So this is a 6 converted mana cost, so 4 blue Merfolk Wizard 4/4 that has the champion of Merfolk. So when it comes into play, you sacrifice it unless you remove another Merfolk you own from the game. And then when it leaves play, whatever Merfolk you removed with that champion re-enters the battlefield. So Wanderwine Prophets has the ability. It says whenever Wanderwine Prophets deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a Merfolk, and if you do, take an extra turn after this one. So this card was, for the longest time under $1, just hardcore under $1. You weren't ever going to see it go above that. 6 converted mana cost Merfolk that has to, see another upkeep so that it doesn't have Summoning Sickness anymore, do damage, has to exile. It was so many hoops to jump through. But then in August of 2017, they released these new precons. One of them being the Anala Grixis Wizards precon. And Anala has this eminence ability. It says whenever a wizard comes into play under your control, you can pay 1 and make a copy of that wizard. And that just combos off with Wanderwine Prophets, allowing you to potentially, as long as you can get in for a swing and do damage to an opponent, an infinite number of turns.
Yeah.
And
I remember this when it came out, and it was so funny because we were writing the show. Coyle goes, "Wait, Wanderwine Prophets," and I was like, "I forgot that was a terrifying thing at the LGS for a couple of weeks."
So it was a really good combo. And back then, we weren't really CEDH players or anything, but this was a really good card to kind of go into. Maybe it wasn't CEDH at the time, but maybe kind of start delving into the more competitive scene with an infinite turns on just a Merfolk wizard.
Listen, I played Narset for infinite turns. I didn't need this Merfolk.
You didn't need it, but
it was cool.
You could play it in Narset if you really wanted to.
It was a different way to do it.
That's right. So this card ended up spiking to about $23, and that was only for a single day. So it went from like $1.27, $23, and then the next day it went down to $11 again. So definitely you don't want to do on the or be missing out. It's okay to be missing out. I'm sorry, I spoke incorrectly.
You don't want to be missing out
Just
on the
miss out
savings.
on it.
Don't miss out on the savings. Just wait a couple of weeks.
So if you would have spent $23 on it back then, you'd be kicking yourself because you can buy it today for $3.84.
$3.84. Well, let's end with an old card. Okay, so this one is, have you ever wanted to play a card with, and just throw your arms in the air and wave them around like you just don't care?
I do.
And like yell? That's what this card looks like. And it's just a bear. It's a 2/2, and the bear lives in the forest. It's the forest bear.
It's a forest bear.
It's a forest bear with a single printing from Portal 3 Kingdoms. But why are we looking at this bear, do you ask? Well, do you remember when Ayula, Queen Among Bears? Why am I talking like this?
I keep talking like
previewed.
I love it.
Do you remember?
Do you remember
the Modern Horizons of September? Was it in September?
It actually came out around that time, I think. Ooh. Yeah, so it's not that far off.
All right, so Ayula, Queen Among Bears came out. It says whenever another bear enters the battlefield, choose one. Under the battlefield, under your control, choose one. You can put 2 counters on target bear, or target bear you control fights target creature you don't control. It's just playing bears, right? So you just want to get all the bears.
All the bears.
Forest bear is just a bear, okay? So for the longest time, forest bear sat at, well, here's the problem. So you're looking at 2013 forest bears $3, and then you look at like 2015 it's $4, and then it's like $6, and then like 2018 it's $8. It's just because it's just old, right?
And it's just Portal 3 Kingdoms, so very low printing.
So then like in 2019, like War of the Spark, around War of the Spark, it's $13. Ayula. I can't even, the algorithm that we're using to look this up is showing that forest bear average was over $5,000 at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly we have some listings are just put up there and it kind of messes with the prices. And perhaps in this case, it was up there for too long. But I do remember that these cards were selling for over $100. Now at this time, you can still buy your very own forest bear for $27 with $1.99 shipping for your very own 2/2 bear that says, woo. That's what I assume.
Yeah, that's what the bear is saying.
There's no, I mean, there is flavor text and it says fish and bear paws. One can't have both.
Fish and bear paws? I think bears do eat fish though, so I'm pretty sure even the flavor text is off.
It says one can't have both. It says Chinese idiom meaning you can't have it both ways.
Okay.
This bear is partying seriously though. I would party with this bear.
I mean, the bear looks like he's having a good time.
So this one is not even a just wait. This is a what?
Don't.
Why did you?
Don't. You don't need it. Play a changeling instead.
Play a 2/2 changeling.
It is a 2/2 for 2. It is literally the definition of a bear.
Also not reserved list.
That's
so
right.
They could print a forest bear in the next core set.
And it's white border, in case you care about that too.
Now, I have a forest bear for my Ayula deck, but I did not get it at $5,000.
No, I'm glad.
I hope no one bought that at $5,000. I would assume these are just artificially inflated prices and there were no actual sales.
There was someone out there that had like 3 copies of Forest Bear that they sent in to get graded when Ayula gets like, oh, we're going to grade some Forest Bears from P3K.
Get your Forest Bears graded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it now.
Do it now.
This is advice from the Guardian Project.
While
podcast.
Supplies last. No, so this was a lot of fun to look at some of these cards, the before and after, to figure out the rise and fall of the FOMO effect. Yeah, these are all significantly affected by the popularity of Commander,
for sure.
Specifically. Now, we had Walking Ballista might have been a little bit of a different situation because that Heliod and Ballista combo was being played in Pioneer as well, as well as Commander.
Right.
But it's very easy to tutor in white for artifacts.
Absolutely.
You can do. It is in the Commander deck that I do play with Heliod. So a lot of fun. This is another topic that we'd like to do again in the future.
For sure.
So as we see more of these crazy cards, or if you have any that you can think of that we didn't discuss today, tell us about your favorite rise and fall. Tell us where they are now.
Where are they now? I'd like to do this again, but with like reserve list cards too.
And when they spiked and
Yeah.
why, like, can we figure out why it spiked?
Well, like,
or is it just that people are buying them?
Well, there was actually 2 instances of cards that I looked at. One of them was Second Chance, which is an enchantment that is used heavily in like more competitive Muldrotha decks.
Okay.
So if you have 5 or less life, you sacrifice it, take an extra turn, and then you just cast it again. And the other one was Treachery.
Oh, yeah.
The enchantment from that Yarok made spike. But both of those cards are now seeing artificial spikes just by being reserve list cards. I guess they're not really artificial, but
they're just spiking.
They're just spiking because they're reserve list.
They're reserve list, and you can pick up a copy, if you still need one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is it for our show this week. I'm going to be streaming with CNC Power Hour on Wednesday.
Nice.
So if anyone is listening the night that this episode goes live, I will be live with CNC Power Hour. And we want to thank you all for listening. If you want to contact us, you can find our podcast online at guardianprojectpodcast.com. You can find our social media on Twitter at GuardianPod and our gameplay videos at youtube.com/theguardianproject. You can also email us at guardianprojectpod@gmail.com. I am on Twitter at ATFlurry.
And I am on Twitter at WormCoilEngine. And we want to give a special thanks to our producer, Ryan Nichols, and also Chris Wolf, who handles all of our graphics and design for all of our thumbnails and our screen loadouts on Twitch and everything like that. So special thank you to the both of you. Thank you so much.
We will see everyone next week for the last episode of the 80s.
89.
The year I was born.
Oh, wow. Dating yourself, I guess.
Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.